many of us, particularly the younger Jews, and the links to Zionism are declining, and actually probably a minority amongst younger Jews. And I've seen older people my age, 70 and older, who particularly because of what's happened in Gaza, have their eyes have been opened and are taking deliberate and decisive action, have left their synagogues in disgust because the only victims that are ever allowed to be talked about are the Israeli hostages. We've seen just this week the tiny little movement of this government, which is to restore UNRWA funding and to say that they won't object, they won't try to block the International Criminal Court's arrest warrant. That's all. I mean, this is the teeniest little steps, and this has provoked absolute furore amongst the Jewish establishment. Well, you just need to know that there is a growing, ever-present and growing movement. But mentioned Massif Yatta, the South Hebron Hills. The stories that are coming from the South Hebron Hills, because while our eyes are mostly turned to Gaza, what's happening in the West Bank under the cover of, I mean, the panic and whatever reasons, there are no reasons, but the levels of settler attacks and displacement are absolutely enormous. And for those of you who follow anything about Massif Yatta, there was a massive assault on a very peaceful village, El Khair, which is cheek by jowl. It's literally, the edge of the settlement is not as far as those buildings across the way, more like if we were where the trees are. It's just appalling. But what I just wanted to, before I sing, I wanted to read you this. I actually live in Hastings, and Hastings has been purely coincidentally twinned as the PSC. We've been trying to get the town to twin up with someone who's been a family in Khan Yunis for many years. This is the message that arrived this morning.
Fantastic. Was it?
Hello, I am in a miserable situation. I am displaced on the streets in a catastrophic situation after yesterday's forced displacement. He was living on the rubble of his home, by the way, in Khan Yunis. He'd already been to Rafah, and then when Rafah was threatened, he went back to live on the ruins. And I continue. The Israeli occupation forces violently attacked the city of Khan Yunis. We have been displaced in a frightening way. The situation is very disastrous. I can't go back to where I was. I left everything behind. And now, stripped of everything, we are slowly dying. The suffering here cannot be described.
I get it all sorts of
I
places.
did respond, but there's nothing I can say that would be adequate to respond to that.